Geek Podcast. Today is Wednesday, March 22nd. It is our 52nd episode, which means I believe we're at our 1-year anniversary.
We are indeed.
We are. So, yeah, man. I mean, before we get in the show, let's kind of reflect a little bit. How's it been for you, man? Are you enjoying this?
I'm loving it.
Great?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm loving it too, man. It scratches that itch because I have a lot of friends who aren't into like the same kind of geeky things I am, and I know I talk their ear off, and they're like, what is Adam talking about? Who is Ben Reilly, and why does he care so much? And so, it's, oh man, and what is he talking about? What's the name of the win? So I'm glad I have this outlet with you, especially. It's been fun. The N.FM has been great to us as a platform, and it's been really cool. And I'm glad that every week we get to geek out, and we gather all the things. You gather most of it, and we just kind of geek out on it. And I think it's really cool. I'm excited. We just did our riff track last night, and it was a ton of fun, guys. If you want to venture through it with us, go get Dune and play that and listen to our commentary and riff track on it. I think next time it'd be cool because next time we're gonna pick a movie that like we both seen, and I don't think we've thought of one yet. We'll announce one soon, or give us your suggestions. And I think it's gonna be a lot more fun when I know what's going to happen, so I can kind of think of some jokes a little bit ahead of time. With Dune, it was more of like reactionary for me.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, oh my god, did they really say that? So it's gonna, it'd be cool to pick a film where we both kind of know the beats that are coming, and I think it's gonna mesh really well. But yeah, man, it's been fun. It's been nice to geek out. It's given me an excuse to spend a lot of money on video games and to see a lot of movies. I didn't see as many movies as I did since doing this, and it's been because we're talking about them, especially with the Oscars. I mean, this year I saw all the major movies that were nominated not only for the major award, but for like the top awards, for actress and actors and whatnot. And I think it's pretty cool. It's broadened my horizon, and it's just been fun. What about you, man?
Totally. It's been, this one for me has been big on like comics and books, especially since we've started doing this kind of book a week club.
Yep.
But I mean, it's been. It really tunes you into things like how many shows have there been sometimes where you're like, well, I want to watch that, but there's so much going on, but then you miss out. And you're like, oh, damn, I would have loved that, but I didn't start watching it. But with this show, it's kind of been like, oh, man, I got to go watch this, I got to go watch that. And for as much as it's such a first world problem to say that it sounds like a chore, but it's the idea of like, there is just so much going on. And then you keep finding new cool stuff.
Yeah.
And it's insane sometimes,
It really is. It really is. And it's in the same breath, we have that luxury. And so like it's not even a chore to me sometimes. There are some times where, for example, there are some shows I need to catch up on. Like, for example, I need to catch up on Supergirl and Gotham, 2 DC shows that I hear is really good, killing it right now, that for whatever reason I haven't been. But it's one of the things where it's like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, I want to talk about it, so I need to watch it. Yeah. And I enjoy myself when I do, and it gives me that break. And like you said about the books, man, I have not read this many books in forever, I should say. It's not happened this much this often, and comics have taken kind of a side road for it, stepped aside for it, I guess you would say, and that's okay. Like, I'm still reading new things. I'm still exploring all these different novels, and at the same time I still am reading some comics. I'm catching up on The Walking Dead. It's definitely made me not read so many comics, where now I've kind of gone down to just a few, and that's a good thing. That's cheaper, and that's not spending as much money, and it's just been really fun.
Well, and it makes you prioritize. Like, you have to weed out. Like, it's something that pushes, and I almost wish this happened more often, because then you have to push out, well, this story is really interesting, so it goes at the top of the list. This one looks like it's got potential, so it goes up here towards the list. This one I'm kind of on the fence about. Maybe if it's a slow week, I pick this up on a Friday or something, like and then the other ones that are like, well, I like this series, but I really don't like where this story's going, then junk it,
Right.
you have to, it helps you prioritize, and that's, I mean, different taste is different for different people. Different people are going to like different stories and argue about different stories, and that's, thank God for that, or else we wouldn't be doing this. But
Yeah.
like that's, that's the whole thing, and it's, you can drag that out and say, well, okay, if I can do that with this, then why can't I do that with something else? And it's, I'm, it's a little meta to go there, but whatever you can get from it, take it and run, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what it is. It's gotten me out of my comfort zone. It's got me doing things, it's just having fun, and it's just opened up a lot of doors and a lot of different worlds, I guess you could say, and it's really cool. So I've been enjoying the hell out of it, and I hope you guys have too, listening. So, but yeah, man. So what have you been up to this week?
Work,
riff tracks, work.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't played much of my PlayStation this week. I actually do plan on playing it. I think tomorrow night or something like that, or when you're listening, it'd be tonight. I just haven't had time for that. But I got some friends I want to play on it with. I kind of miss them. I don't every night for like the last 2 weeks or a week and a half or something like that. I have just been completely busy with something. We've been doing the riff tracks. All right, plans to go somewhere. It was someone's birthday. Someone was in town, so it was just I have had to I have an hour here and there to like I'll watch a movie or do something, but like it's kind of what we just talked about. I had to prioritize, and when I have just a brief few minutes, I know I can play a game. It's been the 3DS, man. I've been playing Fire Emblem, which has been really fun. I've been playing I don't even know. It's not even in front of me, but I've just been playing like all these like I've been playing Donkey Kong Country Returns and
nice.
Pokemon X. Just like I'll get in for 15 minutes and then I'll hop out. The only game I'm kind of playing I guess PC isn't a console, but I played Stardew Valley a little bit. And that game, dude, I think I've talked about it a little bit on the show before, but I haven't gone into depth like what the crazy stuff they have you do. Like I'm looking for the mayor's shorts right now, and you gotta go like apparently to Marnie's bedroom. Marnie's the girl that he likes. I guess he left his shorts in there, but you can't get in there because you have to befriend her. So it means you have to give her a gift every day, and it's just there's so many things in that game that makes it amazing. Stardew Valley, $14 on Steam. Go pick it up, listeners. But yeah, man. So we read The Princess Bride this week, and I'm sure reading from me just takes so much longer than you because you're so used to reading all the time. I read a book maybe once a year before this because it just wasn't something that I did. So now it's like it's getting in the I have a few hours. Let me pump into this. Let me knock some chapters out.
Yeah.
Where before I was just like, oh well, I'll hop on the PlayStation or something like that. And so yeah, I don't know. It's been fun. It's been cool. But yeah, man. So I mean, let's kind of get into it. We got some movie news. You want to take the first one here?
Yeah, sure. Jason Fuchs, who's writing the Wonder Woman movie, has been tapped as the next screenwriter for the Lobo film that they've been I think they've been developing that at Warner Brothers since 2009. I want to say 2009 or 2010. It's been in development hell over there forever. But then they did Jonah Hex, and then there was The Losers, and they went, oh, people don't want to see this kind of character. It was like, no, they don't want to see crappy movies. That's right. the main point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of like it could be kind of like what Deadpool could have been a crappy movie. It could have been really bad if they watered it down.
Yeah.
Didn't do the right jokes, didn't have passionate people behind it. Lobo could be great if they make it fun. And I think DC, we always go, at least I do. I always jump on the look. DC, do something a little bit different. I think because it's no secret, Batman Superman's the end of this week. We're both gonna go see it. We both have kind of come to the conclusion it is not going to be anything different than Man of Steel when it comes to tone.
Right.
I think they've made that very clear. So we're not expecting anything different. At least I'm not with that. I'm sure you're not either. It looks like we're not expecting anything different with Wonder Woman because I don't think the sun was out at all during any of those clips.
Right.
There's not. That's a Suicide Squad shot all in the dark.
That's my problem with DC. I don't see them doing anything different. I don't. Right. I see all of these, like, their universe has to have one tone throughout the whole thing, and I think that is just death. I think that is just terrible for them.
Oh yeah.
And
I was talking to a few people today, and I was just like, when Fox has finally got it, when they're like, hey, Daredevil didn't have to be this dark thing. Like, it was fun. And when I say fun, I don't mean like it has to be like childish and like a lot of kind of like the Marvel. I think Marvel gets branded that because it's family friendly. It doesn't have to be family friendly to be fun. When I say fun, I just mean entertaining.
Right.
When you go in the theater, you're entertained and you walk out of the theater. But when you go to see Man of Steel, you're just like, well, fuck! I just got punched in the face. I don't want that every time I go see a DC film. I want to cheer and I go, yeah, and have a little bit of hope and whatever. Deadpool had all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a blast to watch. I want a DC movie to be like that. I want that. I want, maybe Green Lantern. Who knows? Maybe they'll do something like that. I think Suicide Squad's going to get the closest to that because it does look like a lot of fun with Harley Quinn and whatnot. I just, Lobo's an opportunity for them to do that, I guess is all I'm trying to say.
Well, but I mean, Lobo's a schoolyard bully. I hate Lobo.
I guess I just don't know much about him.
I absolutely despise that character. He is you look at him and you think, okay, big dude with the hair and the chains and the space motorcycle and the cigar. Oh, he's like every stereotypical biker at a biker bar. He was everybody in that scene from Terminator 2.
Oh, I thought he was skinny. You think he was a tiny thing.
Oh, no, you're thinking of the Twilight-inspired revamp that they've done.
Well, that's the Lobo.
That's the new Lobo.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
That one's even worse. I'm telling you, man, it was impressive when they were like, and this is Lobo. And I was like, hold on, wait, what? Time out here. How does this work? Well, the one is an imposter. This is the real Lobo. And I'm like, can we just put them on the same spaceship and blow them both up? Because I couldn't stand the new, like, I looked at the new guy and I was like, oh my god.
I know. I was just saying that to mess with you, but I don't know much about Lobo. I just know that he is, he's got a cigar. He is very 90s, very like in your face, like biker of the stars or whatever. And I could see a chance for them to like have fun with that, if that makes sense.
He's absolutely an anti-hero, but the problem is I think we've kind of beaten that to death. Like we're kind of done with that idea, really. Mm-hmm. I'm not, we have to find different ways to break some of these types down. Everything can't be an archetype anymore.
Right.
And you get into some danger with that because, spoilers for Man of Steel, Superman breaks character and Zod's neck. But, like, that's kind of like going the other way. I liked what they did with Jonathan Kent. His whole thing of, like, the world is not ready. You're going to scare the crap out of him. You should hide. That's it was a more realistic look. How would that really play out in the world today? I think that was a very real world kind of look at it. But by the same token, I understand the idea of that's not Superman. Like, it's supposed to be a little brighter and at least a little more. If the symbol stands for hope, there sure as hell wasn't any in that movie. Like, that's and I get that point, and that's kind of what I mean. Like, you can twist styles, you can bend this kind of narrative, but you have to be careful with that. There is going too far in some cases, and when you do that, it just doesn't work.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I couldn't disagree with you more about Jonathan Kent, but we won't go there. I just hated that character from top to bottom in that film. But I totally agree with your point, though. Like, it's okay to make things realistic. It's okay to not make them as just so stereotypical, whatever.
Right. It's not the 40s and 50s anymore. I get that. Right. But, there's you can't just rebuild these things from the ground up. There is an inherent reason why people, Superman's what, 70, 75 now? And climbing? There's a reason he's had, we can complain about, oh, he's boring, he's this, he's that. That idea of hope, of optimism, of there's always a better way. That was something so central to Superman. And I blame everybody on the creative staff from that project for gutting that from it. And Zack Snyder he was talking to Variety or Entertainment Weekly or whatever, and he was talking about the collateral damage argument for Man of Steel.
Right.
And he actually said this. He said, I don't understand why people aren't mad at the new Star Wars, because they blew up like 5 planets with billions of people on them. They get a pass, but Superman knocks down some of Metropolis and suddenly he's horrible. And it shows that he completely missed the point.
Yeah.
Because the thing in Metropolis was, here's the hero who's trying to save people and inadvertently, knocks down half the city and kills how many thousands of people. In Star Wars, the villains blew some planets up to make a point.
Right, yeah. Wow, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it was, I forget if it was Entertainment Weekly or Variety, but I actually read that and I'm thinking, wow.
That's how much they don't get it.
Oh man. And I mean, him and Gore, like Zack, I want to like Zack Snyder. Because he does come across, like you see him in so many interviews, you think, here's a cool kind of guy. Like, and then you look at some of the movies he's made and you think, maybe? Like, I mean, right. He started with Watchmen and everybody, I mean, you want to talk about dividing a community, Jesus.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, what else can he do? Well, he can do 300. I'm like, okay. That was...
Well, he did 300 first.
Right. But I mean, that was the thing of like, okay, well, there are Gerard Butler's abs, and they kind of carry the whole movie.
Right, see, that made sense. 300 made sense for his style.
Sure.
Watchmen the beginning was great. The rest, it was okay.
Yeah.
This conversation reminds me. I really want to read Max Landis's Superman, American Alien.
Yeah, I've heard it is really good.
Right, exactly. I watched he did like a whole thing with Kind of Funny, and they talk about it, and he's just so weird enough where I'm like, I want to see what that's like, in his take on Superman, because he knows his Superman, like with his videos on YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like he knows the history, and he knows enough to shake things up in his own. It's his own little. It's separate from continuity, so it's his own little world, and I like that. I like when it's like, okay, we can have this cool little story where things are different and it's not going to mess with the continuity type stuff, and that's okay in that little pocket.
Right, you can't do that like a whole universe wide thing. Exactly. That gets too far. But I totally agree. Like little, like here, like almost kind of what ifs, or just side stories that are like, here's a Superman story because somebody gave us a good pitch, and so we gave it to him.
Right, exactly. But it's not the big, major DC movie universe that we're going to live with for years.
Right.
That's where it's like, come on, get them a little right,
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's going to be interesting coming up. I can't wait to talk to you about what we think of the DC universe, or the, Batman vs. Superman movie. I've tried my best to stay away from reviews. I've heard good things. I've heard bad things. So I'm still in the same place as I was before. You know what I mean? And when I say things, I don't actually mean things. I didn't hear what made them good or bad. I was on just Facebook, and you see people saying, great movie. Other people saying, shit movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like I have still no opinion of it, so I'm trying my best to stay away from
right, like
any sort of reviews.
Right, and I've seen a couple reviews because I know they're not going to change my mind. Like right. I'm going to go see this, and my bar is pretty much right in the middle. Like right. As long as this movie doesn't actively suck, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah, I mean, inside, I really think I'm going to enjoy it more than I think I am, or that doesn't make sense. I hope and I believe that I'm going to enjoy it more than I did Man of Steel,
okay.
Because my expectations are now set. And unfortunately, they're now a little bit lower than they were before going into Man of Steel. So, if that makes sense, I think my expectation, now I have a good set expectation. and it's not all over the place.
Well, and I mean, here's the thing with Man of Steel. It was like, it's a new Superman. Okay. It's from the guy who just came off of Sucker Punch. Oh crap.
Right, and see, no, I didn't even think about that when
I will never let him forget that movie.
Dude, when I saw that teaser trailer, and I talk about this all the time,
Yeah.
with the Lord of the Rings music,
Yes.
the Americana, everything that I saw screamed the perfect Superman movie. And then when I went and saw it, I was disappointed, and I think that's because I didn't have high expectations, and obviously I'm in the same boat with you. I think they just didn't understand his character. They didn't see that he is supposed to be this light, this hope in this world of darkness, and Batman is kind of the opposite.
Right. Instead
in
of
tone, yeah.
But now we just have, instead of having, the big blue Boy Scout against the Dark Knight, we now have the gritty guy in a cape against the gritty guy in a cape who has to wear armor to fight the other guy. Like, don't, like, this is not a contrast of styles.
Right, and so that's, now that I'm going into Man of Steel, I've set those expectations, so now it's going to be like, I know what I'm getting myself into, even though I wish it was different, but I hope I enjoy it. I hope it's still fun. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor looks like a ton of fun. And yeah, apparently Max Landis, speaking of the devil, apparently that Lex Luthor is based off of Max Landis, because he just I don't know if he directed, but he wrote the last movie that Jesse was in, the American
Ultra. Yeah,
American
man,
Ultra.
Was that weird.
Yeah, so he's apparently based the new Lex on him, supposedly, and he even referenced that. He's like, that's what I hear, but I don't believe so, even though we have the same hair. and now that I think about it, it's like when you see him in the trailers, it's like, oh yeah, actually I can see that.
Totally.
So it's going to be interesting nonetheless, and a lot of the people that I do trust in that kind of world, like for example Greg Miller, I know he's a huge super DC fanboy. He said he enjoyed it. He didn't want to give a definitive if he loved it or whatever, but he said it was, he said if you liked if you were kind of upset about Man of Steel, you should like this. Nothing's going to change your mind about Man of Steel, but they addressed some of those things, and I thought that was cool.
Right, and I mean, that leads to one other point, and then I promise I'm going to stop bashing on this. But,
yeah.
like, you hear them talk about, well, this movie is going to address the things in Man of Steel. I'm like, that's great. That's a crappy way to make movies.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You don't want an hour of trying to fix your last mistakes.
Well, and not just that, but making a movie that is set up for the second movie. Like, right. Stop making movies in anticipation of a sequel. Just stop. Let every movie tell its own story. And I know this is not a new concept, but it's becoming more and more prevalent.
Right.
Stop.
And I totally agree. But in the same breath, though, I have to say, if they do address it and it's done well, I can't bash them for that. I'm happy they do that because it had to happen. But moving forward, yes, don't make the mistake to begin with. I guess that's easy to say.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't just I don't know. But we've gone on about this a lot.
Yeah.
So let's start getting to the. Did you see the new trailer for X-Men Apocalypse?
I did.
And I know you probably did not feel anything different.
No, this is one where I'm just it's just not gonna change my mind. I
liked it. I really liked the trailer. I thought it's weird. These trailers for the movies, it's like, why didn't you do that from the get-go? Why didn't you show us that? I guess someone said, I forgot who it was, but someone told me, well, now we see the Four Horsemen. But I always thought, didn't everyone know the Four Horsemen were in this and like who they were?
Maybe. I don't know.
I guess I'm just sometimes I get a little too much in my head. And I know the Four Horsemen. I know kind of who they were. I can see obviously the people standing with him were his Four Horsemen, but I guess that wasn't apparent to a lot of people. So I liked that they really showed them in this one, and I thought it was really cool. I don't know. I thought it was a really well made trailer.
I'll give you that. Yeah. It was definitely a well done trailer for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I like that Jennifer Lawrence is she was a lot in this one. She was in this one a lot, and I liked that. I liked that we're getting a lot of Mystique, and I think her character is really cool. And I don't know. I thought it was really good. I can't wait to see the film. I don't know. It's we'll see.
that makes one of us.
Yeah, I know. I know you're not a fan of it. I love the X-Men, so I actually. The way I'm looking forward to the film, but I'm honestly looking forward to what happens next. And that's sad to say, but I want to see what happens, because this is going to be the one. After this one, it's kind of open,
Right.
who's going to be in the following.
Exactly, because like everybody's contract is up after this one, pretty much.
Everyone's contract is up, and I think everyone's going to be looking at Marvel and Sony right now, because that big deal with Spider-Man, to see what happens in the next Sony film, it might make Fox go, oh shit, we could actually make a profit here.
Yeah, right.
That's going to be huge. And I think Fox is, I don't see why not. They I don't know. I just don't see why they don't play along, especially if Sony's going to. And let's face it, Civil War is just gonna kill.
Oh, absolutely.
It's gonna absolutely kill. And so I think the next Spider-Man movie is gonna do just as good too, because now people are gonna go, guys, guess what? Tony Stark's gonna be in it. Captain America's or whoever, Captain's gonna be in it. It could be anybody. We could have, Kingpin in it, which is something else I thought about today real fast. Did you think about that? Kingpin is owned by both studios. He could be in the Spider-Man movie.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, he's shared, just kind of like how Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch is shared with Fox and Marvel. Kingpin is shared with Sony and Marvel. So they could technically have his character in the Spider-Man film, or technically, if you wanted to, they could put Spider-Man in the Netflix stuff. Doubt it would happen.
That would be the more likely version, I think.
Well,
because,
but that's the thing.
But hang on, because remember, Fox owns the movie rights to the X-Men, but not the TV rights. And so I don't know, I'm sure with Sony and Marvel it would be like, hey, we own the TV rights to the Kingpin, but you own the movie rights, but, we're kind of sharing anyway, so let's just share. I don't think it would be a problem, but I think it would be easier to just have Peter Parker drop into an episode of Daredevil or the Defenders or whatever.
Right, exactly. The Defenders would actually be the perfect place to put him. And let's not fail to think about. I forget the names off the top of my head. The kid who plays Spider-Man and John, the guy who plays Punisher, they both auditioned with each other, or they helped each other audition. They did tapes together.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yes, and so he was Spider-Man and he was the Punisher, and they both had these crazy interactions. It is not that far-fetched to think that Sony and Marvel both are sitting there going, we own the rights to Kingpin. We both share them. We both own the rights to Spider-Man, us in the TV universe, you in the movie universe. And now we're playing along with each other, so now it's a shared universe. It is not that far-fetched if Spider-Man popped into the last episode of The Defenders to help them out.
Right.
And that would be absolutely amazing, because the actor would be on board, because hey, they both got each other the job. That's a bond there.
Yeah, big time.
And if they wanted to, Kingpin is one of the best things about the Daredevil show. It would not be that far fetched to show him in the Spider-Man movie or mention him or something. That needs to happen. There's no reason for it not to.
No, and I keep going back to the first arc of Ultimate Spider-Man. The first big thing is him trying to take down the Kingpin. Like, that's a central. Everybody goes Kingpin, Daredevil. Well, also Kingpin, Spider-Man.
Absolutely. That was my first thought when he was on the first Daredevil movie.
Yeah.
But we need to take a break, so we're going to get back. We're going to get into all the movie stuff. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And we're just getting started. We got so much more news to talk about. Did you see that for some Ready Player One news, Simon Pegg is in talks to join the film as Ogden Morrow.
As Og. I love this casting idea. I love it.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Yeah. So it's just in talks. It's not confirmed yet.
Right. As far as that was what I read anyway.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so cool. It's perfect casting.
Yeah.
So it's, Simon Pegg is, oh man, he's just spoiled. Like, he's living the dream right now.
He's been in Star Trek, he's been in Star Wars, he's gonna be, he's just, Simon Pegg is kind of the movie king of the nerds.
He really is. He absolutely is. We have, he's living the dream. I'm super jealous of him. Yeah. we got some Justice League news. Amber Heard confirms her casting as Mera in Justice League and Aquaman films.
Yeah, I know we had probably talked about this a while back when it was one of those things. It was like, hey, we're pretty sure this is it's like almost official kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay, cool. Fine. She made mention that they're still designing there's whatever her armor costume, whatever they're doing with that.
So that means she's probably not in Batman vs Superman.
No, she won't pop up until Justice League Part 1.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Go ahead and take the next one here.
Okay, yeah. There was a film called The Little Prince that Paramount had the distribution rights for in the US. It was supposed to come out this week. I think it's huge overseas. It's won a couple different animation awards, made like $100 million already overseas. And it was supposed to premiere here in the States, I think it was this week. And whatever it was, this week or last week, a week before it was supposed to debut, Paramount dropped it. They said, nope, don't want it. And
like in the theater?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they completely dropped domestic distribution rights. So nope, don't want it. And everybody kind of went, wow. Because it was as bizarre as it sounds. Cue Netflix to the rescue. They've said, we've picked up the distribution rights, and we're going to add it to our service later this year.
I actually probably think that the best thing, a movie, because I've seen no advertising. It's supposed to come out this week. That would have bombed. That's kind of the perfect place to put it, I think, Netflix.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if a studio is, if you're not going to promote it and you're doing no advertising, it's supposed to be for kids. Where is you have to advertise. You have to get kids to go, mommy, take me to that.
Right.
Netflix is probably the safest place. It's not a superhero movie. It's not, it's not Zootopia. It's an old story, right? Like The Little Prince.
Yeah, I think so.
I've heard it referenced in weird things like Lost and whatnot, but that's all I know about it. So that's the perfect play for Netflix. I am so glad Netflix exists.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
it's kind of the perfect spot for it. So that's cool. Yep.
This was some weird news.
Yeah. Go ahead, take it.
Dan Harmon is producing a stop motion animation picture focused on the life of Bubbles. Not Bubbles the Powerpuff Girl, not the Bubbles from Finding Nemo, but the Bubbles who was the pet chimp of Michael Jackson. Wow. That Bubbles from 1983 to 2003. He was MJ's pet. And he's still alive, actually. He lives in an animal sanctuary in Florida.
Oh, okay. See, I thought we were talking about Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys.
No.
Just kidding. Oh, man, I need to watch the last season of that because the new one comes out this month, I think, or next month.
I think it's next month. Yeah.
Soon. Yeah. Man, that's such a good show. Okay, a stop animation movie about a chimp that Michael Jackson owned. Is it supposed to be like a comedy? I can't even imagine what this is going to be about.
I think it's their end-around way of trying to do a Michael Jackson biopic without actually doing one.
Jeez.
So that they can kind of avoid the scrutiny of not trying to... I mean, have you seen the casting for the road trip movie with the story that supposedly was Elizabeth Taylor and Michael Jackson and Marlon Brando?
No.
They took a road trip during, like, it was on 9/11, and they were driving across country instead of flying, and it was the three of them. They cast... Yeah.
I'm totally confused. Wait,
I know.
What do you...
just take it at face value. It was just those three in a car on a road trip. And what a trio it was. It ran, I think it was a Rolling Stone article where, like, they talked about this. And they have cast... They cast a couple people. They cast somebody for Brando and somebody for Elizabeth Taylor, and everybody was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." They cast Joseph Fiennes as Michael Jackson.
Joseph Fiennes,
who I'm pretty sure is in some way related to Rafe Fiennes. British, white as a sheet of paper.
Oh wow. So is he playing like Michael Jackson but he's playing Michael Jackson like later Michael Jackson?
Right, but it's still weird because then you kind of wonder, is that technically whitewashing?
Okay, but Michael Jackson, his skin tone was white towards the end of his life, though.
Right? And that's one way to look at it.
And he also changed a lot. I mean, I guess you could get into a lot of politically correct territory there, and a lot of extremely racist territory there. But that's a weird choice. Who would you cast as Michael Jackson? I guess you could do a really light-skinned, African American.
I think you would just kind of go through Michael's life, and then at the end it would just be heavy makeup. I don't think you recast. But
right. So then you're like white facing it, right? Isn't that? I mean,
well, since that was what happened to him, since he lost that melanin. I mean, that's true. It's not. I know, and you see, that's why I think they're doing something like Bubbles to specifically avoid exactly this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could absolutely see why that would offend people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at the actor now. He is very white.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a no-win situation for that. I guess you're right. You could take a black actor, take him through his life, and then he goes through what happened to him. Yeah, that's. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you do that, because otherwise it's like you have to remember, even though he was pale skinned at the end, he was black.
Oh yeah, I mean he was paler than me. He was very pale towards the end of his life because the melatonin. But yeah, that's a lose-lose situation for studio. But I totally agree with you. You definitely got to go that route.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking. They don't even look the same when I'm looking at pictures.
That's the other thing. They don't look at all alike. There's not the structure, none of it. Like it's.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yep, I could see them getting a lot of heat for that. Yeah. Okay. So wait a second. This movie you're talking about, it was Martin Brandau, Elizabeth Taylor, and Michael Jackson.
It was Marlon Brando, Elizabeth Taylor, and Michael Jackson.
And what were they doing?
They were road tripping from. I think they were leaving from New York to go across country.
And this is a movie they're making.
Yes, this based on what was apparently a true story.
Wow.
Yeah, look up. I want to say it was a Rolling Stone article where they were like, "Oh yeah, and this happened."
That is crazy.
I mean, that's yeah. So I mean, you could see why they can't. Like, you have to make a movie about this.
Yeah. That just sounds like a cool story, an interesting story.
Yeah. But then you're like, it does. It gets a little strange.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Where were we? All right. Terminator. Arnold says 6th installment in franchise is currently in the works.
Because the series will never die. It really won't. Until we have no more Schwarzenegger, this franchise will exist.
Who is their target audience for this?
I don't know.
Because we should be their target audience, and we could be less interested.
Yeah. Well,
we couldn't be, I guess.
Because like everything after 2 sucked.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everything after 2 tried to be 2, and it failed miserably.
And I mean, and that's a high bar. Like Judgment Day is arguably one of the best sci-fi films ever.
Well, and the thing is, and this is what I think a lot of them fail to realize, is that 2 was completely different than 1. It tried something very different.
Yeah.
Here's an idea. Try something different. Don't give us Terminator 2 6 more times.
Right. It's not about, hey, we have to send a Terminator back to protect somebody from another Terminator. What's the twist? This Terminator takes on female shape. This Terminator is made out of nanobots. Here's a Terminator movie that rewrites the past because the future is different than the past we made in the second one, where we stopped the future from happening because we changed the past.
Just do something different. Honestly, they should, even if they got to go back, tell a smaller story, a more, intimate story, kind of like how the first one was.
Do a 3rd season of the Sarah Connor Chronicles. That was a good show.
See, I never saw that.
I don't know if it used to be on Netflix. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore. But find it if you can find it on something. It was a good show.
Yeah, no, that's what my friends told me that I used to work with coworkers a long time ago. They preached about that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Terminator's never been my thing. I like to just as much as every other kid back then did, but that's about where my love for it faded. And it was a cool Terminator versus what was it? Terminator versus RoboCop on the SNES.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool, but other than that, I could care less.
Yeah, the epic rap battle they did was better.
Right, the Universal Studios thing was pretty cool, where you went in there and you put on the 3D glasses and you went on the little ride thing. That was pretty fun. But other than that, yeah, yeah. Give me a Terminator VR game. That'd be sick.
I'll sign up for that. Sure.
I'd play that in a heartbeat. I think we're gonna get a lot of things like that back in the 90s when they tried with VR and the whole 3D and VR stuff, and we saw a lot of that, but it never really caught up to it. I think technology is getting to the point where now it's starting to catch up, where a VR game set in those kind of crazy, stupid worlds would be a lot of fun. Imagine a VR game set in Mad Max. That would be so much fun. That's what I think we're gonna hopefully start to get soon. Those kind of weird, things that popped up in the 90s and whatnot.
Yeah.
Those are gonna be a lot of fun. What else we got here? Batman vs Superman. Affleck denies rumors that he rewrote scripts.
That actually disappoints me. Because I was you remember, I was so happy to hear that he was like, nope, we gotta change this and we gotta change that. Guys, remember, I won an Academy Award for writing and also for producing. I know what I'm doing here.
Well, that's the thing. It's so believable.
Yeah, totally. And but he made it a point. He's like, I was not sitting on set in my suit rewriting. I was not in my trailer in my underwear writing. I was not anywhere rewriting the script. I was like, aw.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. He just his next film. Have you heard of it? Live by Night.
I think I've heard that's a thing. I think that's about all
yep.
I know.
It's supposed to come out next year. They said right in the perfect spot for Oscars.
Oh, so it's going to be like December 2017.
Yeah, I guess whatever the the sweet spot is for those kind of films.
Like October, November, December, right around that time. Usually.
Exactly. Yeah, he's trying to set it up for that so he can get an Oscar nod. Now, he won an Oscar for writing. Has he won an Oscar for directing? He has, right?
No, he wasn't nominated.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't nominated for Argo. Remember, that was one of Seth's big jokes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right. That would be really cool if he got writing, directing, and someday got acting. The whole thing.
Yeah.
How crazy would that be?
It's a hat trick. It's a hat trick to pull off, and it's not an easy hat trick. It's hard enough to do.
Never done it?
Oh, I'm sure there have been people that have done it.
Really though? All three: writing, directing, and actor. I can't think of one person that would have gotten that.
I know people.
If anyone, but he's not a writer. That's the thing.
Well, but you have to wonder about that. How much dialogue is in his movies though.
Yeah, but I can't think of one person that won those 3 awards.
I mean, Eastwood would probably be the closest, unless, we'd have to go way back.
Way back. I can't think of a modern day person who'd have got writing, directing, and actor.
An actor, and not for the same movie, thank God. But
right, yeah, that would be crazy. But yeah, I can't think of a single one. And if Affleck somehow pulled that off, that'd be great. Apparently, people say what they want about the new Superman Batman film. Apparently, he is the shining star of that. And I couldn't be happier. Going into up to that film, that's been the one thing that's held my attention with it. It's like I've heard a bunch of whatever, but that's the one thing where I'm like, if anything's going to make this film good, it's going to be Affleck as Batman, and I'm glad that most people are praising him for it.
Totally.
But we need to take a break, and but we're done with movies, so when we get back, we'll talk about TV. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we'll see you all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on N.FM, and we are gonna get into our TV news. You take the first one.
Yeah, Emily Browning, from a series of unfortunate events, and from an unfortunate event itself, Sucker Punch, has been cast as Laura Moon in the upcoming American Gods adaptation.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I'm okay with it. I'm good with that.
I guess I'm just not familiar with her.
That's kind of it, because even if you look at her IMDb page, it's not a list of like, hey, here are things that are recognizable. Like, and I don't just mean indie films. Like, some of these are like, oh, I think I've heard of these movies, maybe, but it's parts that I'm like, I wouldn't have recognized. I don't think it's a leading part,
Right.
aside from what she did in Sucker Punch, which may explain why the rest of them haven't been leading parts. But again, not, when you're given, when you can only do so much with the script you're given.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, I'm excited for that ever since we read it, the book a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got Luke Cage, teaser for the next Marvel Netflix series. I guess played at the end of the Daredevil season 2 that unveiled the logo. Have you seen all of Daredevil yet?
I haven't yet. What am I, like 6 in, I think?
Okay, I think I'm like 9, maybe 8 or 9 in.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into review section. Maybe we'll talk about the first half of the season, but nothing too spoilery.
Right.
Just give me. Have you liked it so far?
Oh man, are you kidding me? This has been awesome.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I think a single person who didn't like the first season. The only people that I know that maybe gave any sort of negativity towards it, as I said, it was maybe a little bit slower, a little bit more,
Fair enough.
they didn't like that it was a slow burn, which all Netflix series are.
Right.
I think they're still getting used to that. There's not a beginning, middle, and end to every episode. It's kind of like it's part of the story. I think this one kind of took that and was like, okay, no, we're going to make it just, to me, there's no filter, or filler. I don't think there was in the first season, but I think even more so now, there's just none. It's just, you can't end the episode and just stop.
No, and I've tried.
Right, and that's the thing, you literally have to be falling asleep to, it has to be 4 a.m, and your body gives out.
And it was. I was like, all right, it's like 1:30. I'm gonna watch the first one, and I know what I'm getting into here, but I'm gonna do one and go to bed. It'll be fine. And then it's like 4:15. It's like, I'm done with 4 of them. I can't. I physically can't do it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a commitment, but I keep, every time, I try to dive into it, and I keep coming to, I need something kind of lighthearted right now. Like, maybe I'll go watch, I'll dive back into Leverage, because that was such an awesome show. But, I'm always like, well, I could, I need to finish up this episode, because, I had to leave, so it's, part finished, so I'll do this, and then I'll jump back over into, I'll jump out of Daredevil. I'm gonna finish this episode, so and then, it's 4 hours later, and I'm done with 3.5 more.
Right, exactly. You can't. There's so many cool characters in it now. It's not just Daredevil and a few other people that you may or may not know. It's nope, these are big characters of the Marvel universe, and oh man, why do I keep forgetting his name? Who's the guy who plays
John Bernthal?
John Bernthal. There's some scenes and we're not getting into spoilers, but there's some scenes in the show where I'm like, this better be put up for an Emmy.
And there are 2 in particular, and I'm sure you would know exactly which ones I mean.
Yeah.
Where he's gonna talk, and it's all subtle. All the emotion in those scenes is subtle, and it's what's bubbling below the surface, and it's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. And there's just so many scenes where you get goosebumps because you're like, this is the fucking Punisher.
Right.
This is the guy I read as a kid. This is the comic my older brother handed to me and was like, read this. There's guns. There's a scratch and sniff smoke section. This is everything the Punisher was when I was a kid on the comics, in the cartoon. Everything I ever saw of him, I'm just like, oh, and there's yeah, we won't get into it. There's some scenes where he just starts talking and his voice gets louder or it gets quieter, and you're just like, God, this is the Punisher.
Yeah, this is the Punisher Max version of the Punisher, and it's exactly what he should be. Like I get it. Like, oh, we have to kind of tone down a little, because you can't go, because Punisher Max is such. I don't know. Have you read any of that from them?
Logan, you haven't seen the whole series. That's
okay.
all I'll say.
Oh, okay.
Anyone who has come out and said, they're gonna Disney-fy the Punisher, oh my God, it gets crazy. That's all I'm gonna say.
I didn't think for a second. It's like, well, we have to make him kid friendly. Like, no,
right, not you. I don't mean you. I mean, because I have had a few friends where they're like, oh man, now that Disney owns it, guess what? We're never gonna get another rated R Punisher. We're never gonna, and it's like, nope, Disney does not care. They put him in the show and they put him in the perfect place, and it gets brutal.
Nice.
You'll see. That's
nice.
all I'll say is, surprise, there's violence that happens in Punisher, but it is on another level later on in the season. There's one scene in particular, and we'll talk about probably next week because I'm sure you'll be all caught up.
I would love to do next week. Do just an hour bonus episode just for season 2.
You got it. That's it. Write the ticket. Next week we'll get the details, but we'll talk about it. So I guess not this weekend. We won't do it. We'll be doing it the following.
Yeah.
Okay, so next episode, next Wednesday, you guys hear from us. We'll tell you exactly when you'll hear our special Daredevil talk. So we'll stop talking about it now. It's good. Go watch it so you can be in the conversation.
There you go. That's all you need to know.
Yep. All right. Now, this news was kind of cool. I thought it was really cool, actually. Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner says Netflix miniseries could focused on character would be a great idea.
That's something that they could do that would be really neat. Just like 6 episodes. That's all. Just a quick little miniseries like they're doing. They could do like what they're doing with Agent Carter, but even condense it a little bit further and put it on Netflix, and it would kill. It would be awesome.
Yep. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
It's the perfect outlet for some of the, I hate to say side characters, but I mean, let's face it, if you're not Iron Man or Captain America, you're a little bit down the billing.
Yeah.
But I mean those, and look at, Black Widow is like the perfect mix of the Punisher and Elektra. Mm-hmm. And that's, I mean, and that would just be magic. You could give me like a Black Widow not necessarily like an origin story. I don't want an origin story, but just kind of a side story. Mm-hmm. Like some of the, what kind of red are we talking about in that ledger? Flesh some of that out. Like those, I think that's a fantastic idea.
Oh yeah. Did you ever read Matt Fraction's Hawkeye?
I read parts of it. I read a handful of issues. But okay. I loved what I read.
I think that would be the perfect premise, and I understand in the movie he's got a family and everything else, but there's going to be a time where he has a place in New York where, he can't go home because he can't go home.
Right.
Because of shit that's going down. So let's say he has an apartment. They could do an entire miniseries based off the Matt Fraction graphic novel. I completely believe that. And then at the very end, he takes the pizza dog home to his family.
There, perfect. Done.
Yeah, exactly. That's the sort of thing where he has a week where he has to lay low, and that entire week is the Netflix miniseries, and all hell breaks loose. You got the tracksuit mafia, you got Pizza Dog, you have all of that stuff, and it's just the week from hell for Hawkeye. And I think that, and he doesn't have to be Hawkeye. And he's just a guy in that series. You know what I mean?
And he could absolutely do it. He could absolutely pull that off.
Yep, and I think that would be perfect, and then suddenly, Luke Cage walks down the road, or whatever they do with the Netflix series.
Right, yeah.
He teams up with Daredevil for one episode. It's perfect. It's really cool. And like you said, he's a grounded character. So these grounded characters really, and Marvel Comics does it great in their comic line where they have the Max series. They have their own little pocket universe where, these smaller characters, they don't really fit well with the bigger ones. The only one that really makes a big jump is Spider-Man. Just because he's just so lovable or whatever, he's just so fan-friendly, he makes that jump. The other ones, I think they get overshadowed if they were in the movie universe. So I think in the TV space, and let's face it, we've had more time with with Daredevil than we have with any of the other characters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and because of how much screen time we've seen of him, and I think that's awesome. I think these smaller characters are just as important and just as entertaining than these big over-the-top, characters. So I think that's a really cool idea.
Totally.
Yeah. Now on to some weird news. MacGyver, Lucas Till from X-Men First Class Apocalypse to star in titular character in CBS reboot series. Why is this even happening?
Because remake all the things,
Yeah, why? I don't understand. We're probably get another MacGruber. I don't understand why, and we're gonna get a MacGyver. Oh, he kind of looks like him. I'm looking at pictures.
He does, yeah, but
yeah.
You can't apply the MacGyver theory of how to get out of tough spots to making a MacGyver show. You can't just say, what do we have here that we can use? Well, we've got these couple of sets and this sound stage and this one actor who's not going to be in any more X-Men movies. Let's make a show out of that. No, it doesn't work that way.
No, there's no one itching for a new MacGyver. Like, there's got to be someone with too much power at that company to be. Someone at CBS is just a huge MacGyver fan, and he's getting okays from everyone.
I mean, I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I certainly have no desire to see a new MacGyver.
Yeah, me either. Well, I got two more news stories here for TV, but I think we're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll talk about that and video games. All right, again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we will see you all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And got two bits of TV news real fast to go through. Apparently, Cara MacGyver, who is known for doing a lot of posters for a lot of movies and whatnot, tweeted out that a picture of of Captain Britain costume, and she tweeted out, for my 1000th tweet, who will play Brian Braddock in the upcoming TV series Captain Britain? Stay tuned. And I guess like 1 million people messaged her, was like, wait, what? What's going on? This was on Bleeding Cool. And she was just like, yeah, well, it's happening. I don't know who's doing it. I don't know who's in it. Here are some designs or whatever. And like, apparently it's legit. She's like a legit person that does movie posters and all of that other stuff. A lot of like James McAvoy posters, for whatever reason, that's like who they go to. So I thought that was really odd. So
they're doing a Captain Britain. Is this a movie?
TV show.
TV show. Well, sure, that would make more sense.
Yeah. So that would be crazy.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Well, we're about to see his sister, in the movie universe. So. Yeah. And also the Tick news. Amazon's revival of the Tick cast the lead. Peter Serafinowicz. I'm totally mispronouncing that, but basically he is the roommate in Walking Dead or Shaun of the Dead. So he's Ed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was
Shaun and Ed's roommate. Yeah, the uptight guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. He's gonna play the Tick.
Yeah, it's a shame they didn't let Patrick Warburton keep doing it. It was great. Yeah. But he's he's still involved with the project. I forget if he's writing or directing or something.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, so that's it. But let's get into some video game news. Sony PlayStation VR bundles pre-orders are now open.
Yes, for both, right? Not just the everything pack, but also the basics pack, right?
Yep, exactly. I went to GameStop and pre-ordered it today.
There's a surprise.
Yep. Yeah, the first time I've been to GameStop in a long time. I actually lost my stylus for my 3DS, so that's why I went in there. And I picked up a pack, and it came with a bunch of whatever stuff for $4.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "Hey, you can pre-order VR today." And I was like, really? Yeah. So I dropped down 100 on it.
I don't know. I may go put 20 down on one tomorrow. We'll see.
I think you have to put 100 down.
They've got a minimum. Well, I mean that makes sense because there's not a they are kind of limited, aren't they?
Yeah. It's like a console, so you can't. I don't think you can put 5 or 20 down. I think it's 100. That's what I did.
Okay, fair enough.
To be fair, I didn't ask. He just said, "Did you want to put 100 down on it today?" And I said, "Yep, that's cool. I'll just do that." And then in a few months, I'll put another 100 until October until it's paid off, and it'll be awesome. So, but yeah, pre-orders are open now. Both, yeah. So if you're that loyal and you have the camera and the Move, even though Move isn't, I guess, necessary, you can just go get the camera. But if you need the bundle, like me and probably most people, it's available. So, and I'm pretty sure you can still do it. I would get it sooner rather than later, but
I may pop by before work tomorrow and see. Like if it is $100 minimum, I'm not gonna be into it just because right now I just can't.
Right.
But if it's if they're like, yeah, we'll take 20 or even like I could go maybe 50, see what happens. But I could think about it.
Oh, yeah. No, I kicked myself when I walked out, and I thought, I came in there for a stylus. Now I got PlayStation VR. but yeah, I just can't wait. I had to do it. I knew I was going to do it. I was like, might as well get 1/4 of it out of the way now.
Yeah.
Or actually 1/5, I guess. So, but yeah. Let's see. We got PlayStation Vue. Sony Cable services debut nationwide with 3 plans. The plans are not accessible in all areas. The Elite, which is $45 a month, the Core, which is $35 a month, and the Access, which is $30. Do you have the differences or?
It's packages. It's all packages. I couldn't tell you exactly what's what. What I can tell you is that the Access Slim package, the $30 a month, is a great package.
Okay.
Now, none of these have local channels. ABC, CW, Fox, CBS, for whatever, they're working on that. They're still working on the basic network shows because it's a whole big to do because they're all local instead of the national ones. But
right.
I know the Access, I mean, what are you looking for? AMC, check. ESPN, check. Fox Sports, check. It's like 30 or 50 channels, I think.
Okay.
And then they just go up from there.
Yeah, Disney, ESPN. So, for example, 31 Disney, ESPN, FX, Fox News, Fox Business, MSNBC, all the news channels, AMC, ABC On Demand, that's okay. That's all you really need.
Yeah.
NBC. So basically, the local channels are all on demand.
Right. You get you don't get the
you
don't get the live, but you get the programming after.
Oh, get out of here. That's exactly how we watch TV anyway.
Exactly. Which I think was kind of the thought process going into it.
Yeah, that's kind of perfect actually. TBS, TLC, TNT, True, USA, VH1. These are all the channels, the ones that we watch. ESPN, AMC, the local channels on demand. That's perfect. You got your news channels, FX. Nothing in here is missing that I can.
The only thing that's a bummer, is if you don't do NFL Sunday Ticket. If you don't do something like that, if you're like, hey, what's the, what football game is on Fox right now, that you can't check. You would still, but I mean, there's the thing of you can plug an antenna into the back of your HD TV and you're all set.
I was just gonna ask, can't you just get an antenna for all of those?
Yeah, you can. If you've got an HD TV, because all the channels are on their digital formats, so you get a digital antenna. Which only works with HD TVs unless you get a signal converter, which was something I had to look into because when I moved to Orlando, all I had was that gigantic CRT thing, weighed like 120 pounds. It was like a 26-inch TV.
Yeah,
it was huge. It was one of those that you point at and you're like, oh yeah, all of those look exactly like that. Doesn't matter who made them; they all looked exactly the same. But when I was helping a friend of a friend move, and they had like a little, I don't know, what is it, like a 17-inch HD TV, and I was like, what do you guys watch on that? And they're like, oh, we don't use it anymore. Does it work? They're like, yeah. Like, instead of paying me, can I just take that?
There you go.
Sure, why not? And it's perfect. Like, it's fabulous.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, see, this kind of package is made for people like us. The only reason I wouldn't be able to get this is I have roommates. So I can't just cut TV out of the bill.
Right.
Because then suddenly I would be the only one with a PlayStation that would be able to watch this. So I guess, like, big families and stuff like this, probably not the best idea, but for, let's face it, if you own a PlayStation, you're probably between the ages of 13, 14 maybe, and, I don't know, 30. That's probably the core age, or like 35.
Or if you don't like your roommate.
Yeah, it's true, exactly. If you're just doing your own thing, hey, you guys figure it out, we'll keep internet, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
That's exactly actually what I would do. If it was just me here, I would just kick it, because now we have great internet. I would absolutely cut out the cable part of it and just do this for $30 a month.
Totally. It's and you can break down, like, not, I forget, I think like the Access one, like the cheapest one, isn't available in every market. I don't know exactly what restrictions are on what, it didn't say. But it was funny because I noticed this before I saw the news article, because I booted up my PlayStation and it was like, PlayStation View now in your town. And I'm like, first of all, I don't live in a town. Like, that's being generous here. There's no way we get PlayStation cable out here. No way. And I checked it and it was like, no, we get it. And I was like, well, damn. Okay. Like, this is great for, like, if you have your own apartment, or if you guys can agree on, like, here's shared TV time or something, it really is a great something to look at to cut the cord on cable.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I completely agree, and I'm it's in my area. It's in Central Florida, and yeah, I'm looking at it. That would be perfect.
Yeah.
And you can start a free trial too. I don't know how long it lasts.
Usually something like this is usually like a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's cool though. Well,
and they do, like, some of the, like, they offer, they don't do, like, HBO, obviously, because you have HBO Go, and so you can do that. But
right.
They do have, like, some of the premium channels you can add on.
You can do standalone channels.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper actually if you have PlayStation Plus. So, for example, standalone Showtime is $8.99 a month for PlayStation Plus owners.
Yeah.
Instead of $10.99. So that's kind of cool. That's really cool.
Which I think is cheaper than if you get it through cable.
Yep. And you can get Fox Soccer Plus.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man.
For $12.99 a month.
It's especially living around in Orlando. Like, that's...
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding?
It's perfect. So was Fox Soccer Plus just...
It's just... the UN? It's... I don't know exactly. I think it's just whatever's big in soccer.
Okay, so is it the EPL, or God, I'm looking like an idiot now. I don't watch soccer. Is it the Premier League overseas, or is it like actual American soccer too?
I think it's what I mean is, like, I think it's everything. I think it's just whatever's big. Like, is it the Barclays that's big? Is it Premier that's
really?
going on? Like, it depends on what's happening.
Oh, that's really cool then. Yeah, if it's like everything, oh man, I could totally get that. Then
I think so. Now, please fact check me on this because I don't know, but, like, that's, because I know that what is it? NBC Sports was doing a lot of Premier League when it was on. But God, they did it live, so it was super early.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. It's like 5 o'clock local time. So it's like, crap, I got to get up at like 8 in the morning.
Right. Yeah. No, I lived with a roommate. He was a Newcastle fan, and so whenever I watch Premier League stuff, I root for Newcastle, even though they're apparently never gonna make it to the top again. But yeah, dude, he woke up at like 8 in the morning. Woke me up with a beer in the hand. Canning me one, and I'm just like, holy shit.
There you go, man.
And they owned a bar downtown, so like it was just don't live with British people who own a bar unless you. God, it was crazy.
You might as well try to outdrink a German. Like, it's not
pretty much. Oh man, it was just nonstop shenanigans, and it was fun. It was great while it lasted, but I could not do that all the time.
No,
but yeah, dude, they woke up every morning and did that, and just. But yeah, I could totally see myself getting into the sport if I had that, and that's not that bad. $10 a month. It's awesome.
No, I could shoot. That's why I love that. When I got my car, it came with a free 3-month trial for Sirius XM.
Yeah.
I don't know how I lived without it.
Yeah, and the trick is you just call them up and you're like, hey, I want to cancel. I just don't want this anymore. You talk them down to $20 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I haven't done that, but I just heard of so many people that just I'm like, that's awesome. They can't live without it now.
Yeah, it really is. Like, and if for nothing else, then for the comedy channels.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing so many comedians that I'm like, if I was going through Comedy Central Presents and just leaving it on, that would be one thing. But like, it's like, here's a track from somebody, and I am sure that people are like, you've never heard it, like I'd never heard of Tom Papa before. I'm sure there's so many people who are like, you've what? Like,
yeah.
But like, so many comedians that I'm like, okay, I've got to take notes so that I can like look them up again.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
it's
no,
crazy.
It's funny you say that. That's the station I listened to when I had it for like 3 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all podcasts. That's all I listen to now.
There you go.
I'm like, I want to find so many more podcasts to listen to, because whenever I'm doing anything and it's just me and I'm just spacing out and I need to, whatever task I need to do, I want to put on headphones and listen to a podcast while I'm doing it.
There you go.
I'm weird like that, but yeah. All right, so PlayStation View.
Yeah, all right.
Now to get into some more interesting news. Resident Evil, musical based on franchise in development in Japan.
Yeah, they're doing Resident Evil the musical.
Wrap your head around that.
I really can't. I really don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. You've played a lot of Resident Evil games, right? You played any of the recent ones?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Right. I understand a lot of them dropped this month on PlayStation 4.
Or
is it next month?
It's next month. I want to say next month. I think it's next month. Because a couple of them are in my GameFly queue.
Okay, I want to play 4. I've never played it.
Yes, play 4. Ignore 5 and ignore 6. Just play 4.
Yeah,
4 is good. 4 is good. 4 was the last good Resident Evil game.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And you know what dropped apparently this week? Bully.
And Manhunt.
And Man, never played either one of them.
Yes, they dropped. They dropped. What would it have been? Yesterday, right? Because it's Wednesday. Yeah. Yeah.
So I might try Bully. Always heard it was good. Just never tried it. I don't know why at the time. I think people were like, it's like a Grand Theft Auto in a school, and I was like, it's not that interesting to me.
Yeah, right. Like that's something that if you can communicate that concept right, it's amazing. But just hearing like it's GTA in high school, I'm like, I no. Like, I don't, like, that could either be really awesome or really suck. And apparently it was really awesome, so.
Yeah. What was your favorite GTA?
I really only played through 5. Like, I dabbled in a lot of the others, but I never really did much.
Wait, isn't there 5 of... Wait, what do you mean? You only played 5?
Yeah, pretty much. One. Yeah.
So you never played Vice City or San Andreas or any of those?
Like, I played a little of 3. I played a little of San Andreas.
Oh, wow. That's funny because Vice City is my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, the Miami with the 80s, like, it is perfect.
Yeah.
That's what got me into the series, and then everything else was like, no. And then 5, there's just too much. There's just way too much. It's just, I got into 5 a little bit, started playing around, and I'm like, I'm never going to finish this. Just like The Witcher.
Yeah.
But The Witcher, I want to go back to that. That's the difference is, like, I feel like I'm not going to miss much if I don't go back to GTA. It's just, I felt like I saw everything that I needed to see playing, 10 hours of it.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. And I guess I should say 10 hours. That's enough to kind of get an idea of what's going on.
Right.
But I just saw no end in sight. I was like, okay, well, I can jet ski over here and do this, and it just turned into me just acting like an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what else do we got here? All right. BioShock. Box art for BioShock. The collection reportedly spotted in Taiwanese. Oh, I mispronounced. Taiwanese rating board website.
Like, we keep hearing about this. We keep getting leaks about this is a thing, this is a thing, this is a thing.
Was it announced?
No.
I thought it was officially announced.
Has not been announced.
Wow. Okay. Well, so the game that is definitely happening, but they haven't announced it. Just like the Manhattan, the Ninja Turtle game that was just rumored for so long. Box art was released, no one said anything, and then finally they're like, "Yeah, by the way, we're doing this."
Yeah.
And it's out in a few months.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which, by the way, have you seen the trailers and everything for it? And we talked about it, I think, last week, but have you seen? Yeah, I saw the actual gameplay. The Kind of Funny guys, they sat down with the creators, and they played it, and it looks just like a beat 'em up to Ninja Turtle. Same thing we've always seen.
Well, good. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I guess, I looked at it and I was like, it looks like an Xbox 360 game. And guess what? It's coming out on Xbox 360.
And yeah, it's coming out on current gen and last gen.
Yeah, and that always bothers me when I'm like, guys, we're way too deep into the new gen. That should be dead. And that's what kind of worries me about it. That's why I hope it's $30. It's probably not. It's probably listed 60 somewhere. That's a game I'd buy for $30, not for 60. Because it looks like everything we've seen. It looks like an updated, the bad guy turns red.
Right.
Yeah. So, but Red Dead Redemption sequel to rumored, I guess announced. What do you think? It's going to be announced at E3?
There was a source who was reportedly a former Rockstar developer who said they've been working on this for the last couple of years. They're going to announce it at E3. They're calling it Red Dead Redemption 2 Legends of the West, which, okay, cool, fine, whatever. It's supposed to be bigger. There's supposed to be multiple playable characters. And there's also, apparently they are doing a remaster of the original for current gen by the end of this year. Now, all this is supposedly, so we'll see.
Right.
But
now I heard a rumor, and this has been since last year, which I hope is right, that it's actually going to be set in Japan.
Interesting.
Yeah. That it's possible it could be set in Japan, which I think would be really cool, like a rural Japan.
Right.
And it's the same kind of story. It's just not, a cowboy. And I'm wondering how people would take to that.
I do not know. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I'm wondering Wandering Samurai or something like that. Like how that would be interesting. That would be a completely different take on the series. Obviously, that's the title for Legends of the West could, or maybe it is. I don't know. My mind races when someone basically says, "Oh, it could be set in Japan." Like, what does that mean?
Right.
Legends of the West. It's what does that even mean? If it was set in Japan. So, I think that's cool. I'd be totally down for more of Red Dead Redemption, the first game. But I'd also be totally down, and me personally, I would be more interested in oh, by the way, it's in Japan.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be cool. Go ahead and take the next one.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a thing that happened. A developer called Digital Homicide. They do little games on Steam and everything. Not, this is probably somebody you never would have heard of had this not happened. Anybody who was big on Destructoid 6-7 years ago on back remembers they had a reviewer by the name of Jim Sterling. And he's gone on to have sort of a following after he left.
Oh, no, not sort of. He has a huge following.
Well, I try to ignore him as best I can.
He has the biggest Patreon for any of those type of video game YouTube subscribers.
Oh, now you see, you're telling me things that are just breaking my heart.
Yeah, like he's massive. I love Jim Sterling. Like I don't know, I didn't know you had
really?
such a viral.
Oh,
I didn't know you had such a disdain for him.
Oh,
But I
he's the
love Jim.
Donald Trump of video game critics, as far as
Are
I'm
you
concerned.
Donald Trump? Okay, all right, we gotta talk after the show. 'Cause I don't understand that.
I cannot stand him. I never could. And it started with his Assassin's Creed 2 review, and it just it got worse from there.
You know what? His Patreon. I'm sorry. I guess it's not that. I guess it's huge for one person. What I meant to say was he was the guy out of the gate to start that. If that makes sense. He was the big one to like break away from IGN, or not IGN, but the big. He was Destructoid, but you know what I mean. He was the guy that broke away.
Yeah.
And did Patreon. And he gets.
Oh.
I don't know. But anyway, so go on. So wait. Tell me more about this.
Apparently, what happened is he found that Digital Homicide put up videos of their games on YouTube. And he found every single one of them and just absolutely shredded them. Now, on one hand, fine. He's a critic, he's a jerk, whatever, big deal. But it's escalated, apparently, to the point where they think he's completely thrown out the idea of journalistic ethics, integrity, that whole bit. And he's just being a jackass. The problem is he also has a following. So this developer keeps getting harassed, and they have received, at least on one occasion, a box of actual human waste. And so they've said, all right, fine, enough is enough. And they are suing Jim Sterling for, I think the accounts are assault, libel, and slander. Just because libel almost always has to be bundled with something, pretty much. Right. Kind of like the PlayStation camera. But it's just sorry, couldn't help it. But it's this, they're suing him for $10 million. And in a world where Hulk Hogan sues Gawker and gets like $150 million, this figure doesn't seem so outrageous anymore. Mm-hmm. But it's this idea that where do you draw the line? And, how far is too far? You can say something is awful, you can tear something apart, but do you not have some kind of responsibility, especially in this world of internet celebrityism, even if it's not, you don't have, 10 million followers, but if you've got a small, devoted couple of thousand people following you, do you still not have some kind of, you have to take a look at this and say, all right, guys, enough is enough. Like, is there not some responsibility for that? And I understand you can't control people, but do you not have to be in a position where you at least say, hey, look, I tried?
No, see, here's the thing with Jim Sterling. I am completely 100% on his side with this. There is not a snowball's chance in hell that Digital Homicide has with suing him at all. The fact that they've gone out of their way to do the exact same things he's done, make response videos, slander his name, go after him, just shows just how unprofessional they actually are. And instead of taking a criticism and going, hey, let's change the way we're doing things, they responded in the same way he did. So it is ridiculous. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. They're just doing this because it garners more attention. The more they play in the dirt with him because he's actually successful in doing something, the more attention they'll get, the more they're in the spotlight. Because as you said, no one would have ever heard of them if none of this happened.
And that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Yeah, and so, he has the right to go onto YouTube and point out this studio legitimately stole from other video games to create games. They took art, they took so much from other video games, and he spends his time letting the public know, like, hey, look, this is what happened. Look how crazy this is. This isn't just bad. They stole pictures. They stole everything from other video games, and it's good that someone now is out there like that. That we don't have, we live in the day and age where you have IGN, you have you have these big I don't know what I'm trying to say. These big video game websites, and then you have people like Jim here. You have the Kind of Funny guys. You have the Giant Bomb guys, where they're not really tethered to someone like that. I guess Giant Bomb is owned by CBS, but Jim Sterling, for example, and the Kind of Funny people, they're going to tell you exactly how it is. They're not going to cut. They're not going to bullshit you, and it's a good thing we have these guys like Jim Sterling and the Kind of Funny people, where like they are not beholden to a major corporation, where basically they're only going to run the story about what Jim Sterling says. They can't actually. They don't have people that are going to investigate these kind of games like he does. You know, I challenge you, man. Go out and watch the videos that he made of these people, and then the response. You know, they responded with, "Hello, this is Jim Sterling, and I'm a fucking idiot. Don't believe me? Well, just watch this piece of shit review I made." Like, they went the same childish route he did.
Yeah,
like him or not, you're not going to sue someone, and when you did the same thing he did.
Right, and I'll grant you that. That was where they got really stupid. But I still don't think they were wrong in that respect.
Yeah, but you get into if you look into what happened there, and I know we got to go to break. They legitimately stole from other people when they made their game, and that's all he was doing. He was calling them out on their nonsense. But hey, we got more video game news to talk about. We'll be back in just a minute. We'll see you. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we got a lot more news to talk about. Real fast before we get into it, though, one last thing I wanted to add for the Jim Sterling thing. Like him or not, I love, this is kind of what I was talking about before, is that we have guys like him. We have the Giant Bomb crew, like, you know, the stuff that Jeff did, you know, the trouble, or I shouldn't say trouble, but the issues he had with GameSpot, just that's why I trust them. You know, that's why I trust Jim Sterling. That's why I trust people like Colin Moriarty, where they'll look at Shu and they will tell him what's wrong with PlayStation, or that they didn't like a certain thing, and there's no bullshit there. That's what we need. We need more of that, like him or not. But that's what I like about those guys. I just wanted to.
Right, and I mean, and I understand that, but there's a different way of coming at it. Like somebody like Colin or Greg, like these guys will come at it and say, hey, look, we as fans, we as players, we as consumers, this is what we see that is just not going to work. These are the things that are wrong from that kind of standpoint. What I've always seen from Jim is, as the purveyor of taste and knower of all things that work, I shall now decree upon you these things which are awful, and thou shalt change immediately, or suffer my wrath.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. He can rub people the wrong way. I totally understand that.
Like
I just think there's a place for it, and like him or not, there's a place for it, I guess, is all I'm saying.
Agreed.
Yeah, and he's totally avoidable. You don't have to.
I'm living proof. I've avoided him for a long time.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's what's great about the internet and things like that. If you don't like it, you don't have to look at it.
Exactly. Absolutely. Here. But we got some more news to talk about. We got Batman, Telltale game, Batman game. Basically, some details. Basically, it's gonna have a new engine, apparently. When they release it, and it's not going to follow any specific comic arc. It's going to follow Bruce Wayne by day and Batman at night, which is kind of what I guess I was expecting. What I hear is going to have a lot more Bruce Wayne, and I like that.
Me too. Because it lends itself a little more to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
And it's interesting. Like, we're not going to have like a Nightwing spin-off or anything like that, but we are going to have, you know, we're still going to have those interactions, you know, things that we've gotten accustomed to with Telltale games. And it's going to be, you know, you're going to have, I think they're going to have Gordon and Bullock and Vicky Vale and a handful of others. So
I've been waiting for the big, I know they did, I even own it too. I just forgot the name of it, Fables. But I've been waiting for the comic book Telltale game, Telltale game, the one like Batman or Spider-Man or whatever. This is what I've been waiting for, and I hope that.
Well, and let's not forget they've got a partnership with Marvel too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I can't wait to get into the character and the story and like get that emotional punch in it that they do with a lot of their other games. And I hope when he's Batman, it's a special moment. And I hope he is Bruce Wayne most of the time. And when he puts on the cape and cowl, it's like, oh shit, we're getting in it. So I thought that was pretty cool. We got Deep Silver, basically publisher teases major announcement for E3.
I'm betting my money's on a new Saints Row game.
Oh yeah, that's what I think too.
Some people are saying Metro, which I guess is possible,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. We've been away from Saints Row long enough. Let's go back to not being quite so nuts. Go back
Right.
to 2. Saints Row 2 was amazing. Saints Row 2 was the perfect, not a GTA clone.
See, I disagree. I like that they went crazy because they saw there's no competing with GTA.
Right.
Let GTA be GTA. Give me the balls to the wall crazy, because that's what got me into the last Saints Row. I kid you not. When I saw Saints Row 3, I rolled my eyes. When I saw Saints Row 4, I rolled my eyes until I watched a YouTube video with I don't even know who it was, Jesse Cox or something, and I saw how balls to the wall nuts it is. Like, I forgot what song you start singing in the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
My Heart Will Go On, or no, I'm sorry, the one from Armageddon.
Yeah.
When you're climbing the rocket. I immediately went to Steam and I purchased the game because I was like, this is what the fuck? I had no idea it was this much fun.
My only issue with that was that by not even halfway through the game, you've upgraded yourself to where you're completely invincible.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have to be where, the game is easy mode the rest of the thing. But I love the crazy, wacky, like comedy that they did, and I just thought it was the beginning of that game is just hysterical.
It is, and they got really good at just like, how nuts can we make this, and they did, and that I agree, that was just bang on. It was fantastic.
We were like in the 50s or whatever. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Pokemon Go, did you see this? A leaked video reportedly shows the first footage of the mobile AR game.
Yeah, apparently this was shot at South by Southwest, and it's a thing they're making. I imagine we'll see more at the Nintendo Direct E3 thing they do now.
Mm-hmm.
There was the Nintendo Treehouse or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's where we'll see more of that.
Yeah. Did you see the leaked, or I guess now reportedly fake, Pokemon Sun and Moon? I guess Kotaku did an article about the other day. This has to be the most legit fake I've ever seen. So much to the point where I have to believe it's real. Like the cover art, the characters, the starters, they all look so legit, and it looks like it's like it's a magazine. And I don't know, it looks cool. It's like a bear, a fire bear, a water crocodile thing, and like like a plant. I don't even know, like a ram or something. So I don't know. It looked really cool, and I thought, fake or not, it got me excited to play it, in November or whenever it comes out. But it is the most legit looking artwork I've ever seen for a fake thing ever. Yeah, and Kotaku breaks down how it's not real. I guess there's some punctuation issues and whatnot. But in my back of my head, I'm like, that happens in legit things all day long.
True.
Yeah,
True.
so because they didn't put a period or here or something there, it can't be Japanese, and suddenly it's not real. I'm like, okay. But anyway, The Walking Dead, Tall Tale game says season 3 will premiere later this year.
Cool. I still need to go back and finish 2. I have it, but like I played through the first episode and I was like, this is great, and then I forget what else I went and did, but I never went back to it.
That's my problem with all Telltale games.
Yeah.
I have Game of Thrones. I have that. I have.
Oh my
I
god! I still have Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I have Game of
forgot.
Thrones. I have the Fables one. I have
Tales from the Borderlands.
Tales from the Borderlands. I have all of them pretty much.
Yeah.
Just haven't played them.
Because Tales from the Borderlands was on sale last week before?
Yeah, I got it for a few bucks.
Yeah.
So I know Michonne episode 2 just came out, which is like the Walking Dead spinoff game. So apparently Nintendo production of Wii U reportedly stopped. It's going to stop in the end of 2016. Minamoto hints 1 million users in 3 days.
Mitomo.
Okay, I'm thinking. Okay, yeah. So, two separate stories. The Wii U apparently reportedly stopped. So, what do you think about that?
This does not surprise me. And this also says to me that if the Nintendo Cross or whatever it is they're going to call it if this thing does not knock it out of the park, I think that kills the console side of Nintendo.
Yeah, I think the 3DS, the mobile market, they destroy, even though it's still not as good as the original DS, and I think that's just because of the cell phones out there.
Yeah.
Let's face it, the mobile has been taken over by iPhones and Androids and tablets. The 3DS is still, if you're a core gamer and you want a mobile game, 3DS is the system. Vita, if you're weird and cool like me. But mobile, the cell phone is where like the people who don't play video games on mobile. But you're not going to get Pokemon on that. You're not going to get
Pokemon Go's a mobile game.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's different. It's completely different. They shouldn't make a Mario game for the iPhone because it wouldn't feel right. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying, but
they should make a game that's good around how a phone controls.
Right. And I think that's why this is taking so long.
Right.
That's what they're working on.
Right.
Because Nintendo has been nothing if not, look, our first-party games are going to embrace whatever console gimmick we have this generation.
Right.
And they're going to do it well. I mean, Wii Fit Plus, the Wii Motion Plus was huge. Like, they looked at the initial problems with Wii, and they were like, okay, in order to really get the hang of Red Steel, we need a better motion controller.
Right.
And they refined it, and it worked. You know, I'm one of those people who look at it and say it was a gimmick. It inevitably didn't go anywhere because, you know, next generation they went right back to joysticks.
Well, see, what's the saying? A gimmick is a gimmick until it's not.
Right.
So, you know, you have your analog sticks, you have your bumpers. All of these could have very much been gimmicks, but they weren't. They stuck. They perfected them. They made games that made sense for them. They went away from games that stopped making sense for them. And that's what I think, you know, when you have, for example, an iPad or an iPhone, even though it'd be great to have a Mario game, legit Mario on it, or Pokemon, Pokemon would make a little bit more sense, but there's a feedback that you need when it comes to platformers that you just don't get with it. So you have to make the game around that. So, for example, JRPGs would be perfect on the mobile device. That's why Pokemon would actually be a good fit. You can move it around and hit A and B or whatever, and it doesn't have. You don't really need that feedback.
Right.
But platformers you do, because you're running, you're jumping, that sort of thing. And they can do that. I just don't want it to all be collect threes or whatever. Like, I don't want the bullshit mobile games. If anyone's going to make a great game for core players on that platform, the iOS platform and Android, it's got to be Nintendo. You know, I don't think they're going to do collect threes the whole time or Farmville type games. I truly believe that they're going to sell games for normal prices, $5 or $10 or whatever on it, and they're going to be good. At least that's what I hope. They have to. Yeah. So, but yeah, how do you pronounce this app? The Miitomo?
Miitomo, yeah.
Yeah. Hits 1 million users in 3 days. I need to download it. Apparently, it's like a social app.
It's not out here yet. It's only in Japan.
It's only in Japan. Okay, yeah. So there we go. So
it's basically like they said, hey, we need to make Facebook with Miis.
Yeah, and that's cool.
Pretty much.
That's awesome.
Hey, you know, okay, sure, why not?
Yeah, that should have been on the 3DS, but I totally get it. I get them wanting to be more family friendly. That's not completely online, but it is 2016. Set a parental control on it or not. You know, it doesn't need to be vital to games, of course, but if you want to appeal to a bigger audience, you need to have stuff like that. That's just, you know, I can pick up my phone now and talk to my friends on PlayStation because Sony gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Fifth Cell Studio announces layoffs of 45 people.
This is a big deal because these are the Scribblenauts guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's gotta hurt.
That is big.
Because this is where it's like 45. You know, 45 people is not is not an insignificant number of people for a studio this size.
No, that's an entire studio. It sounds like.
There were rumors that the studio closed.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are still open, and they are helping. They're helping with the relocation and all that stuff, reassignment and everything.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean you hate to see that, man, because it is. I mean that's rough.
Yeah, no, I hope they all, find jobs and whatnot. That's really sad to see. Yeah, did they make any other games besides that one?
That I'm not sure of. I know that was their thing, was Scribblenauts.
Gotcha. Man,
And
that sucks.
I mean that's kind of the nature of the industry. Like unless you can provide a steady stream of viable product, you're toast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's we have studios like Rockstar and all these, but I mean, they turn out giant AAA titles, and it takes time, but these are the studios that in turn are big enough to own other studios.
Yeah.
Deep Silver is a publisher now.
Wow.
It's things like that. Like this is where you get to, and either you can be a Quantic Dream. You can produce your one game every few years, and it's quirky and it's weird and it's worth the investment, and people love it. Or you wind up like Lion's Head, and it sucks. But I mean that's and it's not just game studios, but in this context, I mean that's the nature of the business.
Oh yeah.
And that's, I mean, I know it sucks, but that's, welcome to the world of entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's no worse or it's no better for movie studios. We just don't hear about it all that much.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Well, before we take a break, did you see the Apple announcements? They got the 4-inch iPhone SE. And I think it's like $399, and this has got to be like their free phone. So, I'm pretty sure this is going to be their phone for a carrier. If if you're going and you want a free phone, I think the SE is kind of perfect. It's like the 5S, I'm sorry, it's got the innards. I don't know. You go look it up. But,
it's a 5 in a 4's body, I think, isn't it? Something like that.
I think it's a 5S in a 4's body,
Okay.
but it has like this. You can do the 3D touch. You can do a lot of the stuff that you couldn't do with the 4 or the 5S and stuff like that. I'm not really sure. I guess I should look more into it. But it's so if you're looking to get Pokemon Go or something like that, might be a good option. But we need to take a break. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we'll see you all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And we're in our last segment here. Pretty much finish up the video game news, and we're going to get into reviews in just a moment. Real fast, we got some comic news. Rogue One, upcoming film, getting prequel comic consisting of the 3 issues and a one-shot, and it will launch in October, so that's cool.
Cool.
Get some Star Wars comics. You talk about Sting for a moment.
Yeah, they're reporting that, and it'll probably happen in his Hall of Fame speech the night before WrestleMania, which is going to be a downer. They're saying Sting is going to retire, largely due to the fact that he had to kind of face he's not a spring chicken anymore at Night of Champions. He came out, there was a lot of talk about, well, they could have done this and they could have done that, and Sting was very professional, very graceful, very upfront in saying, look, this is what Seth does in terms of, his moveset and the kind of match he does. And he said, I screwed up. I didn't tuck. I didn't brace right. He said, I don't know what happened, but I messed up. And he was always really forthcoming about that. And it showed a lot of class and a lot of professionalism. But I mean, if he was 20 years younger, it would be hard for him to come back from this.
Right.
There's no way. I hate that it went out like this. That's going to be the end of it for him. But I mean, it's you focus on the career, and he is an icon. That's forever. That legacy isn't the last match he had is not going to tarnish his legacy. If anything, you could spin that as a way to elevate it. He went out fighting for the top prize, even at his age. You could turn that into a really great story.
And that's how most of them do. You know, you're the big guy on top. You need to hand it off to the next best thing. That's clearly what I think they were doing. I am still bitter that how WWE treated his whole comeback and early retirement, obviously. I'm just really bitter at how they treated that. But like you said, you got to focus on the career. He was at WrestleMania. He got his shot. He was at Raws. He did his WWE thing, even though it was brief. It happened. So you got to be happy for that. You got to be happy for him because he's happy. So
Yeah.
This doesn't mean we might not ever see him again. He's retiring, but come on, he could show back up.
I'm sure he will make appearances. I have no doubt about that at all.
And just run his mouth and talk and gather people and whatever.
Sure.
So it could be a thing still. So it's just WWE they have a fight ahead of them for.
And Ben, especially with WrestleMania, this year's WrestleMania is gonna be. I'm worried about this year's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because it's one giant okay.
The most interesting thing is Shane versus Undertaker.
There is no way that the Undertaker loses a career on the line match at WrestleMania in Texas. No way. Absolutely not gonna happen.
So his career's over with if he loses?
Yeah, you didn't see wrestling. No. You didn't see Raw Monday. Yeah, Vince came out and he said if the Undertaker loses at WrestleMania, it will be his last, and did a whole bit.
See, that's an even more interesting. That's the really interesting match that we have. I think.
But now it kills the finish. There's no way the Undertaker loses in Texas. Are you kidding me? No.
But what if they do?
No.
What if that happens? They take the top guy off the list.
If they have the Undertaker lose his last WrestleMania match ever in his home state, they will tear the stadium apart before they get to the main event.
That's what they want. That's what they want.
But it's gonna kill them. Like, the main event already sucks. Nobody wants to see Triple H and Roman Reigns because nobody wants to cheer for Triple H, and nobody's going to cheer for Roman Reigns.
Right. Well, hey, we
could do this all day.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's what, this weekend or next weekend?
Next Sunday.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to be talking about that. Let's get into some reviews. Now, we had Princess Bride. We're going to push it for next week, just because I need some time to read it. And I'm going to pick a book. So we're going to have two books for next week. The book I'm picking is called Console Wars by Blake Harris.
Okay.
Like Jay Harris. This is what they're basing that movie off on. Seth Rogen wrote a script about, and it's about the Sega and Nintendo battle. So, the tagline is Sega, Nintendo, and the battle that defined a generation.
Yeah, good point.
So, yeah, this is going to be a movie coming out soon, so based off of the book.
Nice.
And so, yeah, I mean, the book, the summary is the memorizing behind-the-scenes business thriller that chronicles how Sega, a small, scrappy company, led by an unlikely visionary and team of rebels, took on the juggernaut Nintendo and revolutionized the video game industry in 1990, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, so it goes into that history. So I think that's really cool.
And then the Saturn sucked and the Dreamcast tanked. So.
Oh, yeah, it goes all into that, apparently, and just the ups and downs, and I think it's really cool, and it's relevant to the show. So, I was like, hey, we'll do that one.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, but we got just a few minutes left. Let's pump out some reviews. I've been playing Stardew Valley. I've been, I said earlier, I've been, I've been trying to help out the mayor. I got to get his shorts that he lost, and they're in Marnie's bedroom, and there's just crazy stuff you got to do in that game. That game is everything I've wanted a game for I don't know how many years now. It could possibly be game of the year for me right now.
Wow.
Yeah, like that's how much fun this is. If you have a PC, go get it. I'm sure it's going to come out on everything else real soon. It has to. And this is going to be like what I think Shovel Knight was, where it's then on everything because of how much fun it is. There's so much to do in it, all of the different crops, all the different type of years. And the biggest thing is it's not like Animal Crossing where it stops after one day. You literally can't do anything else after a certain period of time. You have to wait till the next day to get more bells and do everything else. This is like, no. After about 10 or 15 minutes, you go to sleep, you wake back up, and it's day 2.
Huh.
And then suddenly it's Saturday. And, the flower dance is tomorrow. You got to make sure you get specific flowers around town. If you didn't grow any, You could buy some. You got to stop by and you got to see Penny, and then you got to make sure you give her a book because she likes books. And then, like, dude, you could go down the rabbit hole in this game of all the different things you can do. All the you get a farm basically. You eventually get not just plants, of course, but you have animals. You have to shelter them. Oh God, there's the chili cook-off. There's the chili cook-off, so you got to go and make sure that you have the best ingredients for it because the governor's coming into town. It gets insane. It gets
fantastic.
absolutely insane, and it's so much fun, dude. You'll go in for 15 minutes. You're like, I'll just do a day, and suddenly you're done the whole month, and it's 8 hours later. And you got to get prepared because the flower dance is in a few days. And you didn't get all the presents for Jenny, so you need to, like, and then you go into the mines, and every 5 levels, you open up an elevator so that you can go down, and suddenly you're 100 floors down, and you have to find specific kind of copper because, dude, I will stop. But it is the most fun I've had in a video game in a very long time.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, and go look at reviews. Everything I'm saying, everyone who's played the game has probably already gone through. I'm just at the beginning of it. But yeah, dude, go. I heard it from like the Giant Bomb guys, talking games, and like all these places we're talking about. And I was like, I gotta play this game, and it's been nothing but fun. I know we only have a few minutes. What did you think of Flash and Walking Dead?
Flash was awesome.
Flash was amazing.
But, I mean, it always is, so what's new?
Yeah, and Walking Dead was so much fun.
Walking Dead was a strange episode.
I liked it.
I did too,
really
but it was different.
Yeah. Yep, that ending, man.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah.
That was a bummer. I mean, it was different from the comics, and that was okay. But I mean, man, just,
Yeah, it was. I like it when you don't expect things, and it's like, what the shit just happened?
Yeah.
Now, Dwight, I know him in the comics.
Yes.
We've met him before in the show.
I remember when Daryl got jumped in the woods a handful of episodes ago.
No.
Okay.
That happens all the time. So I guess
yeah. The last time. Remember, like, and they chased him through the woods and everything.
I don't remember that. I guess
before because remember, like, he stopped and he helped that one bunch of people, and then it all went to hell.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, yes.
Yeah, he was in that group that was chasing them.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he didn't make much of an impact then because it was like, hey, here's a guy in the middle of all these other guys.
Well, Dwight is a very different character in the comic book, I guess.
Well, we're not sure yet because we don't know him on the show yet. Really.
Okay. Well, should I say what he is in the comics?
Well, we kind of know what he is already on the show.
Yeah, but I guess they never admitted to that in the show. They never said who he was with and who he was a part of.
Well, I think it's implied. Like, we know these
Sure.
guys are saviors.
Okay, so yeah. I guess I really need to rewatch whatever scene they introduce him because that's the blank spot I'm having here.
Yeah, that was I think that was during the whole, like, we're doing episodes focused on one character so we don't tell you what really happened to Glenn part of the season. That's
where it was.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, hey, it's been a great episode. Great year. We got another great one coming next week. You've been, of course, listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. You can go to our Facebook group, We Geek Podcast, like it, talk to us, all that good stuff. Email address, wegeekpodcast@gmail.com. Twitter is at We Geek Podcast, at Adam Estep, and at The Logan Witt. What am I missing? Oh, the riff track's going live, so listen to that, watch Dune, laugh your ass off.
Right. Remember that the track you're downloading is just us talking. It's just our commentary.
It's just our commentary, so listen to it and enjoy it. Soon in a week or so, we'll have a Daredevil talk. Want to get one of our friends on the show that we've been trying to do for a little bit now. Sean, I'm talking to you. And yeah, it's going to be another fun year. So if you're new to us, awesome, welcome. If you're not, you're a long-time listener, you're awesome too. And we'll see you guys next week, Captain.